My project is focused on using artificial intelligence for generating some new stories and new sound compositions. So this is like fusion some artistic domains like music composing and storytelling with using AI, meaning some artificial intelligence software for which can help sometimes. And in this project, why this kind of title? I will generate like new story based on some database of poems from Andalusia, and recently I started to work also with poems from Ukraine, because in meantime situation like change, we have like Russian aggression, so I find very interesting poems and like very fresh from Ukraine, and there's big difference because they are like very existential, very raw, and focus on surviving. So it will be interesting to mix this material with like high poetry, old Andalusia poetry, or like some young poets from Córdoba. There is no any magic in artificial intelligence. It's like future of some technologies. And simply artificial intelligence is like building or representing very complex functions based on like series of very simple functions, which are called layers. And you can like learn and build model or very complex reality based on artificial intelligence. So I'm using different type of techniques from deep learning, like transformers, like autoencoders, and one of technique which is used in games, and I'm building kind of game and immersive installation, is reinforcement learning. And reinforcement learning is based on very simple idea when agent, like artificial character in game, adapting to environment, has some task and trying to find like optimal strategy, the highest reward to make this task. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm so focused on emotions. You know, for me, like reality is based on organizing some people activity or organizing like configuration and networks of things. So I don't really think about what kind of emotion I want to receive from like and from audience. Yeah, the feedback is rather different. I expecting that the people will start to construct like alternative realities, alternative stories. So they are trained and they repeat the same stories, and this is normal process. They unify as a group, repeating some stories. And like function of art is to a bit disturb the stories, or by changing configuration of messages and data or images, they will start to construct new original story. And AI can help in this, because formally AI is like trained on existing stories or existing poems, and I'm also analyzing like geometry of Córdoba. And then I'm generating like new type of geometry. So there is like connection between story and topography, because these words and languages happened in space. Yeah, I'm researching like a very fundamental question: what we are really doing in reality, organizing reality, like or making some networks. And especially now when we are living in kind of very specific historical moment, like there is no like long linear stories. We are living in post-writing reality when we communicate by short messages and like very small particles of information. So everything is like distributed and spatialized, and also connected with space, and exchange this information in space. So I'm really researching what we are doing, like trying to understand our being in reality, yeah? Because what means understanding? In my like approach, understanding is like finding some configuration of words, or finding some configuration of ideas, or some objects or forms in reality. So yeah, so practice is like provoking people to find new forms, to find new stories. I was fascinated by geometry in Córdoba. And as a mathematician and fine artist, when like these visual forms are very important, like Córdoba, like artists dealing with geometries like from in the past was something what I was interested. And now I can like compare my imagination and my work, because I spent like many years dealing with building like some topologies, geometries, and I can also make like kind of kick for this culture to put like forms which doesn't exist in Córdoba. For example, I deal with like differential equations or like objects which are like more flexible or distributed, not connected on the most popular form in Córdoba for me are like squares, and like some symmetries and rotation of squares. These patterns which I met in Córdoba, I like, but for some sense they are like very simple and still not useful for my art. So I'm going to also make some projections when these new geometries connected with stories and topography of Córdoba. I'm building like 3D map, full map of Córdoba city, and AI is using and analyzing like some angles, some forms which appear in this, and users can then play with these forms and also run through. Actually, it is like flying process through the space of Córdoba. So I was fascinated by tradition of Córdoba, but I am trying to disturb a bit this tradition and put new forms and new stories in the city.